looking for his fourth successive victory in the event, and with Michael Lee, the former British champion, his partner. For Australia, Phil Crump, who was the world number 3 years ago, and John Titman, Australia's only finalist in the world individual last year. Denmark, the host nation, with Ole Olsen on his own track, the world individual champion, partnered this time by Hans Nielsen, who scored a maximum when England rode against Denmark some weeks ago on this track at Vojens. Finland with Ila Taroma, who took part in his first world final last year, and Kai Niemi, who rides for Eastbourne. New Zealand with 5-time world champion Ivan Major and Larry Ross, the Wimbledon rider. Poland with Ed Jankarts, another Wimbledon rider and veteran of many world championships, and the very experienced Zenon Plek, just out of the army. And the American team was to have been Bruce Pennell and Steve Gresham, but Gresham has not turned up, or not even sent a message for that matter. The Americans tried to replace him with Ronnie Preston, but he was stranded at Heathrow Airport, like so many others, and couldn't get a flight. Pennell was therefore allowed to ride with a Danish reserve whose points would not count. Well, the track, as I say, Vojens in Denmark, partly owned by Ole Olsen, and the Danes very hotly fancied, but of course Simo and Michael Lee determined to settle the score with the Scandinavians. The meeting has only just finished, and we put the highlights together, and reading the races for us amid a partisan crowd, Dave Lanning.
England then the defending champions of this World Pairs crown. In fact, they've won it for the past 3 seasons, and Malcolm Simmons there, the rider in red, just going out of your picture, in fact has held on to this crown for all of those 3 years. There's one of the Finns who they'll meet in Heat 1. England then bidding to defend this crown. Malcolm Simmons had a different partner each year he has held this title, and there is his partner for today's meeting. That's Michael Lee, former British champion, second in the British final back on Wednesday in Coventry. So England's hopes rest with Simmons and Michael Lee, 2 very tall lads. As we come into Heat 1 on the inside there in red, Malcolm Simmons from England. Next to him in white, Ila Taroma from Finland and Leicester. Grid 3 has the rider in blue, that's Michael Lee. And on the outside in yellow and black from Finland, Kai Niemi. Heat 1, England versus Finland. Remember, of course, 3 points for a win, 2 for a second, 1 for a third. Accumulative points for the pairs here. This is Heat 1. And it's a clean break there, and it's England who go into the corner first, with Niemi trying to run around the outside, and Taroma doing a brave first corner, and they were all over the place on those first 2 corners. Lee and Simmons getting into a bit of a tangle, which allowed Ila Taroma to come through into the lead. Second place now is Lee, third place is Simmons, and Lee really gives him a nudge over there out of the way into that bottom corner. Track conditions, of course, are inclined to be unpredictable as England now go 1-2. It rained very, very heavily overnight, and the track was very wet. It's dried out quite well. They've put a lot of top surface, but it's going to be tacky underneath. But this looks good for England in Heat 1 as Michael Lee and Simmons now pair up. This is what Team Speedway's about. They've got to keep together. They, remember, score accumulatively as they come round into the last lap, 300 metres around this Vojens track, and it's Niemi now battling after them in yellow and black for Finland. But there's the gap, and England really have made an impressive start. Bruce Pennell there from America in Grid 2. He's won his 2 races, and of course the Lions, Malcolm Simmons on the inside and Michael Lee unbeaten after their first 2 starts. The reserve on the outside doesn't really count. Jürgen Holm, Heat 8. And it's Simmons who gets away from the start, and coming around the outside it is Lee and Pennell there, not finding any grip at all around the line. So it's England again with Lee on the outside, Simmons on the inside, and now Bruce Pennell trying to get between them, getting tight. Well, he's a battler, this Pennell, and he's going to go by Simmons. Simmons going back under him hard. You can see the battle for second place. Michael Lee looking to see where the action is, looking for Simmons. So this is something of a race, with Pennell now moving into second place, splitting up the Englishman. There's Pennell going after Michael Lee up front now. Into the last lap, 4 laps, remember. 300 metres around this Vojens track, and Pennell is right on the back wheel of Michael Lee. The decisive one, because it brings together England, undefeated after 3 starts, on 15 points against the hot home favourites Denmark, who have 8 points after 2 races. So the Danes really must make up some ground here. Heat 11 on the inside, it's Malcolm, rather on the inside it's Ole Olsen from Denmark. Next to him we have Michael Lee in yellow. Grid 3 has Hans Nielsen from Denmark, and on the outside in white, Malcolm Simmons. Denmark versus England, the 1978 World Champions Denmark, of course, at World Team Cup level. Tremendous new rivalry in World Speedway between these nations. So Olsen on the inside, then Lee, then Nielsen on the outside, Simmons. Heat 11. Oh, Michael Lee is so lucky. He very, very nearly broke the tapes there. Referee Tor Kittleson says, back in line, lads. And again, Lee is the impatient one. And they're away this time. And it's the Danes. Olsen leads it. Simmons will try the outside run. Here goes Malcolm Simmons around the outside. Terrible trouble there from Nielsen, but Olsen in front. Simmons is second. Michael Lee's at the back. And Olsen looks over and sees it's Simmons and will take him out there wide. My word, this is getting into a race. Simmons around the outside of Olsen, and he has gone by him around the outside, and Lee's moved into third place at the back. And the Lions really are rampant here at Vojens. Well, this is Malcolm Simmons going up into the lead now with Olsen hard after him, and Lee now has closed the gap on Olsen. And we really have had a race to remember here in Heat 11. Just one lap to go, and Malcolm Simmons, the England skipper, much maligned, has really ridden the race of his life here, and he's holding out Olsen. Just two more corners to go, and this one really might wrap it up for the English, because Simmons is going to win it, and that's a memorable win. Simmons wins it. Second place Olsen, third place Lee. Heat 11, the English pairing collect 4 points, and that might just clinch this title for them.
Well, England seemingly well on course for their fourth successive World Pairs title, I should say. After 11 heats, they're 9 points clear of Denmark and Poland. But sadly, the Finn, Ila Tuomo, broke his leg in Heat 5, and so his teammate Kai Niemi will have to ride for the rest of the final alone. To Sports Special 2 and Speedway's Pairs final from Vojens in Denmark. 21 heats in all, and after 12 of them, this was the situation. England led with 19 points, Australia was second on 13, Denmark and Poland shared third place with 10, America were fifth with 7, and New Zealand and Finland were in joint sixth place with 5. Let's rejoin it now for Heat 13. Dave Lanning, the commentator.
Heat number 13, the Danes really with it all to do now, because they are 9 adrift of England. They have this race in hand. It's possible to get 25 points, but they need maximums from their last 3 outings. Ole Olsen, a bit disappointing, hasn't looked as masterful as we have come to know him, particularly on his home track. And there is the spoiler in heat number 13 there. That's Bruce Pennell in red, the lone American. Olsen possibly a little tired because he's been up most of the night worrying about this restaging and doing the track this morning. So Bruce Pennell, the American all on his own, who's looked impressive. He's on the inside red. Next to him Olsen. The reserve is Jürgen Holman blue, and on the outside Hans Nielsen yellow. Heat number 13, the Danes desperate for points. And it looks as though they may well get them, because Olsen and Nielsen are the leaders. Pennell there did not make a very happy start at all, so he must now chase hard after the Danes up front. Nielsen looking for Olsen, and Pennell is not that far back. American has ridden very bravely. He'll make sure the Danes dilly-dally on the way. You see the gap there. They're riding quite beautifully together, leaving no room at all for Pennell. Pennell really is having a go at them though, now trying the outside run, and only Olsen is aware of his presence. Fascinating speedway here, entertaining, as Pennell again tries the outside run into the last lap. Nielsen yellow and black, Olsen in white. Pennell trying so hard, and he might just squeeze by, leaving absolutely no gap at all. He's now going to try the inside run, but Olsen again with eyes in the back of his head is aware of the move. He wins it. Second place Nielsen, third place Pennell. Didn't he try hard? 5 points for the Danes, so they're by no means out of this World Pairs final yet. Well, there's Olsen and Nielsen. They really did ride a quite beautiful tactical race there, although Bruce Pennell tried inside, outside and down the middle. Couldn't find a gap anywhere, so 5 points moves the Danes up onto 15, and England still will have to keep their eye on them. Well, there are the scores. They've all done 4 starts each. England on 19, Denmark and Poland on 15 apiece, Australia on 13, America on 8, Finland 5, New Zealand 5. So England and Australia clash in heat number 15, coming up under starters' orders. And this again is an important one. On the inside, it's going to be Malcolm Simmons, red, looking tremendous this afternoon. Next to him, Phil Crump in white for Australia. Grid 3 has Michael Lee from England in blue. And on the outside, it's John Titman, yellow. Old adversaries then, England versus Australia. Started riding against each other internationally back in 1930. Heat 15 with the English in front, but still looking for points. And it's Crump for Australia. Crump leads it, Titman going around the outside, Simmons down the inside, and this is an upset for England, but Simmons now will stretch and push and try and leave a hole for Michael Lee, although Titman's ridden a very brave corner there, and it's awfully, awfully tight. You could throw a handkerchief over all four as Michael Lee comes through into second place. Lee challenging hard, but now it's Australia 1-2, and here's an upset. Lee then pushing hard round the inside, going under Titman. He's through into second place. Simmons now trying to go through the same gap as Lee goes after Phil Crump, and this is a race to remember. Crump still leads, Lee in second place, Simmons is at the back, Titman is third, but now Michael Lee is going hard under Phil Crump, and he has come from last to first here, or has he? As Crump keeps going around the outside, Lee stretches away on his Czechoslovakian Jawa, and he really has ridden the most enthralling race here. Michael Lee is going to split him up, 3 to England, 3 to Australia. A really superb piece of Speedway action with Michael Lee, the young man only 20 years old from King. You can see it's pretty close, but heat number 18 coming up, the one that England could clinch the title, the one which is so important to their chances, because they just need a first and a third, 4 points to put themselves in an unattainable and unassailable position. We have the Poles in here, and they're not going to give anything away because they're still in with a chance of a place in the frame as well. On the inside, it's Edward Jansarsch in red. Next to him, Michael Lee, yellow-black. Grid 3 has Zenon Plek in blue. On the outside, Malcolm Simmons, white. Heat 18, the crucial one for England's chances. That's an even break, and it looks like Poland there first, although Lee and Simmons are going around the outside of Edward Jansarsch, and Lee leads it. Lee and Jansarsch stretching. Down the back straight, it's Lee and Jansarsch. Lee on the outside. Jansarsch has come through on the inside, and Plek is into third place. So England really with a lot of work to do here in heat number 18. The Poles really have been super spoilers here, and now Jansarsch has Michael Lee, and Simmons must try and get up into third place. It's so important here as Lee goes very, very wide, almost leaves a gap for Plek, and I think Plek's going to go through. Tremendous Speedway action here in heat 18, but it's going to leave it open for the Danes because Plek has come through into second place, and England, who at one stage seemed unassailable, really now in some trouble. The last lap. And Lee really must ride his heart out around these last two corners to hold on to second place. And it's so close on the line. Jansarsch wins it. It looked like Lee up into second place. Plek was third, but it's ripped open, this World Pairs Championship, wide open now, because that really wasn't good enough for England. They could have wrapped it up there, but the Poles really got in their way and rode magnificently. Well, the local crowd, of course, are loving that because it means now the Danes, after a slow start, have now got a chance to snatch it right at the last gap. Well, we might still have a storybook finish as far as the Danish crowd are concerned, because their pairing of Olsen and Nielsen, after a somewhat rocky start, now definitely back in with a chance of snatching this title in the very last race, because they have 20 points accumulatively so far and 5 points in this last race, heat 21. Could take the title to Denmark. The Danes, of course, hold the world individual title through this man, Ole Olsen, who seems to be posing himself there and relaxed for heat 21. He is the world individual champion. Of course, they are the world team champions. They have the European under-21 champion. This is one title they don't hold. It would really complete a remarkable clean sweep for them if they could snatch this title in the last gasp. But they have the Poles to contend with, and indeed, the Poles are themselves in with a chance of winning this title, because 5 points, maximum points from Poland, they have 19 so far, would put them up level with England. there is the score charts, the three nations to worry about: Denmark, England and Poland. The English have finished their rides, of course, 24 points. So if the Danes get first and second here, 5 points, they will snatch the title. If they get 4 points, that's a first and a third, we have a run-off between England and Denmark for the title. Poland, the opposition of the Danes in Heat 21, on 19 points, so a maximum 1-2 for them here could put them in with a run-off with England for the championship. So Heat 21 really with all kinds of possibilities. On the inside, Olsen, red. Next to him in white, Edward Jansarz, Poland. Grid 3, Hans Nielsen, blue. On the outside, Zenon Plek, yellow. Heat 21 that's going to sort out all the answers for us. Away they go, and it's Jansarz in between the two Danes. Olsen leads it going wide. Olsen leads it. Nielsen's come through on the inside. The Danes are 1 and 2, and now Jansarz, who really made a bit of a hash of those first two corners, must really try to burst apart. He's got to try and split them up. Olsen leads it. Jansarz going hard around the outside as Nielsen gets into some trouble in second place. So now the battle really is joined, as now Jansarz has gone by Nielsen as Olsen looks for him. They're switching and dipping and team riding, and it's tremendous speedway. Just look at Olsen trying to slow up Jansarz. He's done it. It's brilliant stuff. Again, Olsen is aware of Jansarz. He's taken him right out wide. That is the corner that could sort it out for the Danes. Olsen has ridden absolutely magnificently. He has team ridden his partner home, although Jansarz is not finished. Here he comes again. And it's so close on the line there, Jansarz. Olsen has won it. Was Nielsen second, or did Jansarz get up? It's a blanket finish, and the judge will have to sort that one out. Well, what a finish. We wait for the decision. Olsen certainly won it. The Danes have done it. Nielsen stayed in second place. They have snatched 5 points in really the most colossal finish. England, who seem to have this title in their pocket at the halfway stage, slipping in the second half, and the Danes have got a storybook finish that only Hans Christian Andersen could have created.
Yes, a remarkable finish there, and the Danes coming very strong in that final heat. But there was a controversy at Vojens in Denmark, because the man who finished third officially there, Jansarz the Pole, said that he was ahead of Nielsen. Let us have a look at this in slow motion again, and let me first identify the riders for you. In the lead clearly is Olsen. On the right of your picture in second place, they say, is Nielsen, his teammate, and on the left in the white helmet is Jansarz. Now if we just edge that slowly towards the finish, Olsen definitely wins, but Jansarz, the man on the left, says he finishes second ahead of Nielsen. And if you look very closely, it's awfully difficult to tell, but he looks to me as if he actually did. Well, that was unofficial. I must say, if he had finished second, then of course the whole thing would have been squared and Denmark and England would have had to ride off. But the official result is this: Denmark winning it by just 1 point ahead of England. In third place, Poland with 20 points. Australia were fourth with 19. The United States were fifth with 14.